Menopause. I mean, that's a big deal. That's a transition. That's an open conversation now, or just started to open. But it's so heavy. And I'm really lucky to had this conversation with Abi Adams that has a different approach of menopause, of this transition in women's life. And it's going to blow your mind. I mean, it's something that's been not enough talk and it's not even considered. So please make time, make space for the Speak Up Darling show. And welcome. It's time for Speak Up Darling show. I'm Vanessa, I'm your host. And today we have the wonderful, the amazing Abi Adams. She's here. She's created this wonderful project woman. And I'm going to give you all the details about it because you really need to get to it. It's a wonderful sisterhood and circle of women who cares, professionals, individuals, any kind of woman who get through difficulties with health and doesn't find usually the right person to listen. So this is one of the things with Abi. She's this kind of wonderful human being that gets to the roots of problems. And
Yeah.
today she's going to talk to us about one wonderful things this kind of breakthrough that she had with her family, and that made her create something really special for us. So Abi, can you talk about it, about first about yourself, and then about this wonderful breakthrough?
Thank you, my darling. It's a pleasure to be here. So thank you for tuning in. So my name is Abi. I'm a speaker, a mentor, and a founder of Project Woman. And Project Woman came from this natural progression of my experiences of studying many aspects of well-being. I've lived in India studying yoga and yoga therapy. I've lived in the States to study the psychology of our emotions and the old yoga philosophy of the chakras. I then moved into functional kinesiology. I've studied MMA and mixed movement and how to exercise with your hormones for menstruation, perimenopause, and menopause. I've just gone into this really, I suppose you call it rabbit hole, with the ultimate understanding of that I have a choice. I can create my health. I can create my emotional well-being. I can create the life that I want to live. It's down to me. I thrive on that responsibility because I'm at a point where it's so easy now. It's easy because I can feel it. And that's what I believe
Yeah.
every woman, every human has the right to do. And at the same time, it's so much fun. It's wonderful. And recently I went on a psychedelic retreat with my husband. It was calling me deeply. There were many reasons why I shouldn't go. You know, you get the money thing, you get this, you get your kids, all of that pickpocketing at you all the time. But there was a deep calling within my soul, and I've got a very good relationship with that deep calling. It recently encouraged me to move from London to Devon, which was so easy because it was meant to happen. And so me and my husband drove up to Scotland, and we was in the Highlands, and it was this wonderful space. And I'm going to keep coming back to space because this is so
Yeah.
important, especially now. I'm in my 40s. I am probably in this place that they call perimenopause. I don't necessarily agree and subscribe to what the world is telling us about perimenopause, but I believe in this wonderful transition.
Yeah.
And so on this experience, my eyes, my body, and my soul was opened to space and the art of celebration. And this is what I believe perimenopause is. Perimenopause is not you having to fix something, not you having to get something to put into what you already have, not you searching and seeking and striving and doing. This is about you celebrating everything that you have done in your life, no matter what that is,
Yeah.
no matter what's been in your cauldron cooking and bubbling away. Now is the time to celebrate. It's a time for you to take a step back. It's a time for you to have the space to digest all of that so that you can move through this time with greater ease. And whilst I was away, I realized how we have lost the art of that celebration and the impact that has on our relationships, the impact it has on our communication with ourselves. Because ultimately, everything that we do, from the creation of the family to the cultivation of your business, is the act of seeking joy and happiness, because you believe that once you get that, you will have that joy and happiness. But if you don't already have it, if you can't already feel it, how will you ever receive it? Surely it should be that you move from a place of happiness and joy that you already have towards what you want.
Yeah,
Because
but it's not what we've been taught. I mean, it's as a woman, anything related to woman, like from your first period to the end of with the menopause, it's always been kind of label yuck, icky, and you are not allowed to celebrate or to rest on during your period. You have to do anything like a boy will do, and you have to go through all the work even more than men. And even pregnancies where we've been cocoon and then you deliver the baby and then, well, you're a mom and it's like you're nothing. That's my experience as a pregnant woman. I've been overtouched, overlooked, let me alone thing. And then I give a baby and then I don't exist. The baby is there and always for the baby. But except my mom that celebrate with me my anniversary as a mom, the rest is just, it's unbelievable. And even now, I hear about a lot of menopause. I'm in my 40s, and the only thing I hear it's opposite to what you say and what you're going to say. It's something that you have to go through, something you need medication for, something that you're going to be in pain, something that's another trouble for women, and the end of the cycle. But it's certainly not. I think this is the first time I hear you need to celebrate and make space and do differently. And so I'm really glad that you have your voice that's, I hope is going to bear and it's going to be loud. I know it's going to be loud.
You know me so well, everyone. I am loud. I'm loud. I am proud.
And I'm going for that. I hope that this loudness will be heard because you have a tone of voice also that is so inviting. It's it's just your voice you have. It's really for bearing messages that are important. You have this talent, but yeah, I'm so in wow that for the first time I hear celebration and menopause in the same and not opposite, but in the same kind of direction, and making this space for it, having like and this enjoyment of what you have done and accomplished, and then what you're going to bring and go forwards towards joy even more. And that's so important. I mean, obviously you're going to talk about more about it, but how can women does that, or how can women start with it?
It's finding the space that will encourage you to do that. We are caught up in a time currently where we are fighting for certain spaces to make us welcome. But we already have these spaces available. We have the likes of Project Woman. We have your spaces, Vanessa. You know, there are many spaces out there that will encourage you and inspire you and support you to cultivate this space for yourself. This is what's so important, for you to understand that you have authority and you have a choice, and that actually your health is a worthy investment. There are many spaces out there that offer this opportunity for free. There are many spaces out there that offer it for paid. What can you give? And this is what's so important, because a lot of the time, let's be really honest, women cannot feel the value of investing for their health because it feels such an icky space. Like you said earlier, we've never had that. We've never been cultivated to believe that by investing in your health, you're going to get such great return.
Yeah.
You know, I see so many women, and rightly so, investing thousands of pounds in their business and yet nothing in their health.
Yeah.
And they rely on big organizations to support them that don't have the space to support them. So they end up going round and round in circles, you know,
Yeah.
and their health just deteriorates. But what I want you to think about is, how can you ever reach the peak of your success if the health isn't there?
Yeah.
Because what I have found and I have seen is, when we are not celebrating our health, we are not investing in our health. And if we do not have that health, it changes your communication.
Yeah.
You are never reaching deeply into your fullest potential because there's a health issue dragging you down slightly.
Always.
I had a woman, I gave a talk in Watford recently, and a woman questioned me to say, so what you're saying is, if there's not a part of my, if there's a part of my body that I don't like, if there's a part of my body that I hate, if there's a part of my body that makes me feel uncomfortable and I don't love it, I will never have complete confidence. And I said, well, let's rewind on that. Because if you're looking for solid confidence in you, how can you communicate that when there's a part of you don't like?
Yeah.
It's like part of your foundation that's missing. So
Yeah.
that house is always going to wobble. As soon as the wind comes, as soon as a bit of rain comes, and this is the emotional response, right? You start to wobble, you start to lose that. And when we go through perimenopause and menopause, we know that the hormones aren't there to support that resilience as what it was. So that starts waving all the time. If we can celebrate ourselves, it don't matter what we like. We don't matter what we look. I'm getting really passionate now. It doesn't matter what we look like, because ultimately, when you are confident and happy and love I want to get my belly out and show you my 2 cesarean scars I've got here. You know, I've got an outie belly button now, and I used to have an innie belly button. I used to have a really flat concave stomach when I was younger. I don't have that now, but I
Doesn't
don't
matter.
care.
Yeah.
Because my focus, my joy is to be able to move. I love hanging. I love doing monkey bars. I love jumping on my hands. I love playing with my children. That's what makes me joyful. That's what I care about most above anything else. And guess what? When I focus on that, this just does what it needs to do anyway.
Yeah.
So I celebrate me on a daily basis from when I wake up. And sometimes I have more time than others. So this comes down to what's important to you. So this morning, I always being outside is what makes me happy. So I go and stand outside on my decking. I take a breath. I celebrate. I tune into spirit. So I welcome spirit. I then done a little bit of energy medicine, which focuses on my neurovasculars and my neurolymphatics. Boom. I'm in a happy place. That was my celebration. Some days I might be able to do a bit of movement, a bit of yoga and whatnot. It's all about the energy in the morning for me. How do you celebrate your morning? Because if you jump out of bed straight on your phone and you see a terrifying email and then you've got a kid coming in who wants your attention, stress. That trajectory for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
I invite you to celebrate you. I invite you to make some time, even if that's 1 minute of just you thinking, I am wonderful. I want to be wonderful. I am wonderful. So many ways of celebrating, so many ways of supporting you, because that, and we now know that if we want to bring the science in, we know that celebration, gratitude lowers the stress response.
Yeah. No, I'm quite, for me, it's quite funny because it's, the science parts of everything that's been proved and blah blah, energy field and whatever, even for me, it doesn't matter. If you feel good when you do something, that's what is important. The science part, yes, is interesting, but don't go for always, I need to see it that it's good. I need to hear it from a scientist for something that's, do it, practice it, and you will see, you will feel the results of it. there is no more than that.
Yeah.
And but as women, I've worked with so many women who expect me to describe on this in a scientific way what's happening in their body for them to be sure that's the right thing.
Yeah.
Because they've been kind of obviously conditioned into this kind of prove me first and then I will do it
Yeah. I hear
instead
you.
of just do it.
Do you know what, Vanessa? I hear you, and I'm sure, like you, again, I got pulled down that rabbit hole of studying movement on hormones, studying the cycle, bam, 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 looking for the research, looking for the research, looking for the research, looking for the needs to be cured. It needs to be cured. Like, bam, that's dissolving. The knowledge is in my head. It's there. I know all about it, but how can anyone say that that is specifically for you?
Yeah, exactly.
If you can't feel it, how is anyone else supposed to know?
Yeah,
You know, it does come down to that. And I come back to that what Vanessa just said so beautifully there is that feeling state. You know, when I left London, it was because a voice so clearly said to me, Ab, if you don't leave London, you're going to die young. Like, you're going to get really ill. Because the environment wasn't feeding me and I could feel my body crumbling. I
yeah,
felt this many years ago when I left the corporate world. I could feel my body crumbling. That's the
yeah,
only way I could describe it. And I don't want that to happen. I've got 2 small children as well now, and I don't want to die young. I don't want to be unwell and for them to see me like that, emotionally, physically, whatever. And so I made a choice. I made a choice, which my husband supported me, and I'm so grateful for him. He's a wonderful human. And we moved that, but it was so easy. We sold a house like that. You know, we moved down to Devon. It just, everything happened as it needed to. There was no stress. Everyone asks me all the time, oh, that was such a big move. Not really. Not really, because it was meant to happen.
yeah,
I felt it. I felt it. And it inspired me to move with it.
yeah,
And we come back to like the science part of things. We know that men are very good at finding answers in terms of fixing things.
yeah,
But we don't need to be fixed. And I totally understand where this comes from, because when someone sees something that they can't feel or understand, you want to be able to help that person. And I
yeah,
get it. And I feel this is what's come up in regards to the way that female health has been addressed over, gosh, the thousands of years, you know, that we've been on this
mm,
planet. But now we are acutely aware that there is a different communication, there is a different vibration, there is a different approach that requires a not so linear
yeah,
path.
mm,
We are very, you know, like the water element. When I come to that, I love using nature in my as a tool towards supporting women. When we look at water, we see how it just wants to flow. And again, research has shown that women are drawn to water in this midlife point. Isn't that fascinating? Because
yeah,
the art of letting go and just being and flowing and moving. M Powder, Rebecca Brown of M Powder opened my eyes to this, of the water element, and just moving with instead of fighting to be what you was.
yeah,
That is where the pain lies. That is
exactly.
where the stress and the tension sits. Just the ability to let go. And that's vulnerable. That's a vulnerable space. But you know what? It's so beautiful, because when you're with the right people that allow you to do that, like myself and Project Woman and other wonderful people like Vanessa, we
Mm,
are there to guide you through. But ultimately, you're so powerful, you're going to do it anyway. You know, you are so powerful. And as you move through, you start to realize what a load of rubbish all of that was. What was I
yeah,
afraid of? Absolutely nothing.
yeah,
And you come out at this point, I like to call them the funnels. You know, when you you kind of hit this funnel, and
yeah,
at first everything in you is screaming, no, and then you get sucked into the funnel and it really hurts and it's painful. But then all of a sudden you allow yourself and pop, light, you come on the other side, and you're like, what on earth was that about?
Yeah.
What just happened? Wow, I feel amazing. And this is the beauty of the menstrual cycle. You get these pops, you get these transitions, you get these emotional changes. And this is what prepares you for perimenopause and menopause. This is the wonder.
Yeah.
This is the drug that you're looking for in supporting you for menopause, your period, your menstruation, your cycle. It's phenomenal. I cannot worship this anymore. I understand that if you experience severe
Yeah.
symptoms such as endometriosis and PCOS, this might not look like a safe space for you. But let me
Mm.
tell you, my darlings, your body is trying to sort out the shitstorm that society has placed upon you. And endometriosis and PCOS are those responses.
Yeah.
When you are in the right hands, when you are in the right support, and I know so many powerful people, myself included, that can support you with this, game changer. Game changer.
Yeah.
You know, and if anyone wants to speak to me about that, please feel free to get in touch. But coming back to the ability to just move, this is what this midlife is all about, this perimenopause. And I come back to my weekend, I kept going through and I kept saying to my husband, my eyes were closed and it was such a beautiful world inside my head. I just saw all of this wonderful stuff. And I said, how do I bring what I'm seeing in here out here? Because it feels quite traumatic. It feels really scary. But then when I opened my eyes and what I saw before me, I was like, wow, okay, it's my choice. It's my choice. What I see inside, I can make on the outside. And I went through this beautiful rebirth where I came out from the womb on my time, in my time, not someone else's time. A big realization was how, even through birth, I had been arriving to please others. Oh,
Okay.
I had been showing up to make others happy. Oh gosh, like the crumbling of that. And it's still a process. Allowing me to take the biggest, deepest breath, to sit with myself, to acknowledge myself, and to celebrate myself, to hold that
Yeah.
space. Because I don't want to keep fighting me. Why would I want to do that? Why would anyone want to do that? And we know that when we
No.
fight, it's to
Yeah.
prove ourselves. Don't have to do that.
Yeah. And fighting, the thing that people miss around fighting is that you're going to lose something with pain. That's the thing. You pay a price with pain, with hurts, with you pay the price of, you might kill the one of yourself you don't like, but you don't need to kill anything. You don't need to destroy anything. You can't kill fear. You can't kill your ego. You need them. It's something that's, otherwise you're going to be what? You're going to be fearless and you're going to go in your life and you're going to kill yourself because you don't have your fear to get there. So you can't just kill. You take by the hand and you start a conversation and you go with it. But if
Oh,
you,
that is, you can't kill fear. And it's a vital part of the emotional process. When we look at traditional Chinese medicine, we see that the fear sits within, perimenopause brain. The fear and anxiety sit within the water element. Isn't that funny?
yeah,
Again, the water element, we come into this time where we're naturally drawn to the flow, the letting go, and yet we fear it so much.
yeah,
Fascinating. And look at this conversation. Look at this, like the water element, the fear, the change, the transition, the celebration, the feminine. How wonderful is this conversation about women, about human beings, about the feminine? These are the conversations that I want to indulge in all of the time,
yeah.
because that's what lights me up. That's what makes me excited. What makes you excited? What makes you light up? What do you love doing? Now, I know exercise is a great tool. It's a
Uh,
wonderful tool.
I
It's
prefer
something that I
movement.
advocate, and movement.
Yeah,
But what do you love? And I tell you, when I was moving from London, I was like, oh my God, what do I love? And it took me And surfing, when I'm on my surfboard, I am at so much peace. When I sit on that beach with my children and my husband, I'm in so much peace. Like that, walking in the forest. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
What do you love? Because what I have found working with women is, and I don't know if you found this, Vanessa, like I said, running is beautiful. Yes, it can be an enjoyment. But when it is all that you do, I'm curious to know what you're running away from.
Yeah.
I'm curious to know what anchors you, how you handle life, what you see, because that is not all of it, is it?
Well, this is the problem as uh, when you talk about exercise, because exercise doesn't mean really much.
Mm,
Movement,
yeah.
you move your body, so you allow your body to be,
Mm,
because the body is made for movement, is made for actions. And when you keep doing just one type of movement, you miss a lot. And running, swimming, um, this is this kind of things that are more what I call performance movement.
mm,
They need a lot. They
mm,
need to have a powerhouse. They need to have grounding. They need to have teamwork and a really equal system of teamwork during the thing. They will entertain the flame
mm,
of life, but they still need these other parts that you need to explore into other type of activities to get, because
mm,
otherwise you just get one side of what your body can give you.
yeah.
It is really nice when you're anxious and when you have a lot of stress. Yes, you can run, or you can swim, or whatever. Although swimming, I think, is even some way better because you're in the water directly.
Mm,
If you're
mm,
running, run in a forest or on the beach.
mm.
If you don't have the choice, London, yeah, for example. I'm in Hampstead, so I have a lot of trees and I have a park. I can
Nice.
go in the park. But if I don't, for example, first ground myself and react my core, my breath, prepare my joints in the way that is connecting to my intention, I know that I'm going to suffer
Mm,
onto the running. My body is not going to not give me what I need. It's gonna no, my knee's gonna not get for it.
mm,
And I'm in the phase where I don't push. If I don't want to, I don't do it. Don't push my body to do things it doesn't want to do.
mm,
But I know that just preparing and connecting with different part of my body with gratitude, with this kind of with just connection, is just it's just I feel that as a miracle every time I do that. It's
mm,
just something that you can explore, and you don't need much, but just to be able to stay still sometime and focus on the basics, the core and the breath, the
mm,
feet and your crown, and that's it. And then you go from it and you can explore, and you don't need to fight your body to get moving. That's one of the things. And when you're in nature, you get even more.
mm.
That's so
Yeah,
even
I'm
if you're
inspired
just
to move. Yeah, when I'm in nature, I'm inspired to move. I am inspired to move more. I love the emotional movement, the expression of movement, how you can,
yeah,
just allow that energy to move through your body using certain, I like to call it like the movement vocabulary, how you
mm,
communicate one move with another, with another, with another, and you start to explore that. It's a wonderful, wonderful opportunity to relieve the stress that sits
yeah,
within your body. And I advocate what you say there, Vanessa. Exercise is an old school approach, and when we look at it, the connotations to it basically always come up as to look better than what you already do.
yeah,
Whereas movement, like the movement medicine, movement food, I find so I resonate more with that. Yeah.
yeah. It's a fundamental. Your body needs to move.
Yeah.
It's made for that.
Mm,
So if you don't move, if you sit 8 hours on your desk, plus coming back, if you just go take the tube, and if you come back and you sit again on the chair or on the couch, you're going to store. You're going to store stress, you're going to store your emotions, you're going to store experience you're uncomfortable with, and you're just going to entertain this beliefs of yourself that you can't do anything,
Mm.
or you're not good enough, or you're made to suffer even more, depending on the religion you are. But it's just also kind of really, it's really frustrating. I mean, you have the body have so much capacity to help you out, and
Mm.
we are so conditioned to, if you have a problem, you see a doctor, but the doctor mainly has one angle, is going to just see his angle of physicality, or, well, you have a problem, you need to fix it. So when
Mm.
sometimes it's just, there's not, they need to be heard and listened, and then they're going to find their own solution.
Mm.
Just the way it is to adapt and find the right circle around you. It's
Mm.
something, and I'm really grateful for your circle, because you've created something that's haven't hasn't been heard before. I never heard. I mean, your circle, you allow women to not just express themselves that like they are, but like they feel.
Mm. Yeah.
With your scream room, for example. I mean, it's something. Be loud. You're allowed to be loud. Remember that we've been told not to be loud as women because it's not ladylike. Uh,
Yeah.
that's all. I'm already loud naturally, so that's
That's what we get on. I love it.
it's something. I mean, I encourage my clients to swear, for example, not to insult. There is different things,
Yeah.
but swearing is really important, because it's just words that just need to be expressed for your anger, for your stress, and help your body to put words on something you feel. But that's it.
Mm.
You can swear in the toilets if you need to, but it's if you prefer to focus it. But it's just not to store. You
Mm.
shake your arms when you feel stressed or angry, and yay, that's it. Let's go for it. And sometimes you don't need to do much more. It's just a practice of it. More you can practice these things, and how you move, more you allow yourself to be just you, and not you with things around.
Mm.
Okay. And I feel the menopause, yes, there is a lot of strong symptoms that some women are going through. I just feel that is still a bit too much taken by medical practitioner.
Mm.
And when you have so many different aspects of how you live the menopause and why you live like this, because it's not like, I have clients who go through the menopause literally gently.
Yeah.
They have some symptoms, but they've been reducing their symptoms themselves,
Mm.
with little medication or even no medication. And I've had other clients who've been having really strong symptoms, and I don't know if there is enough research about it around how also how they've been doing with their body, or how they've been storing their emotions, or also if it's on a generational kind of uh, path where you just store stories from your ancestors too.
Do you know what, Vanessa? Because I'd love to, like, as a side note for us to continue this,
Yeah.
I'd love to perhaps send out some questions to your community, because what I have seen recently, so there is a school of thought, and one that I subscribe to, which is menopause doesn't create the symptoms you experience.
Okay.
Your symptoms from your hormones that have been left unchecked do. So it's not
Oh.
menopause that creates the symptoms, it's the hormonal imbalance that you've always had that
Ah,
creates difficulty in change.
interesting.
Now, this is really interesting, because look at what we have been told is normal:
Mm.
PMS. It's normal. Period pain, it's normal. There's many
Yeah.
others out there. But actually, when we go back to traditional Chinese medicine, we see these aren't normal aspects of anyone's health.
Mm.
No one would put up with this,
Yeah.
really. So why are we? And this also creates that capacity of endurance that women do so well with the way that they carry everything in life.
Mm.
And female health is a massive reflection of that. So when these symptoms are left unchecked, they gather momentum, because as those hormones start to wind down, but your stress is still peaking,
Yeah.
you don't have the resilience anymore. So
Yeah.
those symptoms get louder. But it's not menopause that creates it, because menopause is a time, a natural occurrence where
Yeah.
you're shifting from one point to the next. So I just want to put that out, and
Mm.
I'd love to research this within your community, because I wonder whether those women that only suffered a little bit, I wonder whether they tuned into that intuitive voice and they started to slow down. They started
Yeah.
to ease off. Whereas those women that perhaps carried emotional trauma, that perhaps find it difficult to sit with themselves in silence, in stillness, in celebration, continue to push. And so that stress is still there. So I'm very curious to look at that. What was their response when they got to this point? Did they
Yeah.
naturally start easing off, or did they push even harder? Because what I have seen, those that push harder, those symptoms get bigger.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be interesting to that's research that would be really
Yeah.
interesting to have more of, because I menopause, it's something natural. It's
Mm,
it's a transition, but I never understood why there is so many different kind of symptoms. It's not
mm.
just hot flashes, or cold sweat, or whatever. It's or mood swings. It's so much more.
There's 48. So Rebecca Brown of Empowered has shared with us
Mm,
48 symptoms now. 48. And it used to be 40. And I'm sure before that, it used to probably only be 30. And then before that, probably only about 10. So you can see with our evolution, it's
yeah,
getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
yeah,
Why? Well, we know why. Like
yeah,
the stress is just profound, isn't it? So,
yeah,
but how do we encourage, inspire, and support women to step away from that stress?
yeah.
Because it can be done.
Well, yeah. If you start at least to see that the world we've been living is made for men,
Mm.
what do they know about hormonal cycle? I mean, they
Do
don't.
you know what though? I do believe that understanding the history is really important, because you
Mm,
start to see the biases, and you can start to feel why perhaps your female health feels so uncomfortable today.
yeah.
But I don't want to keep harking on at this idea about men, because I'm married to an awesome bloke and I love him, and he's so in this with me, and I know that there's so many other men out there,
Mm.
and I want us to
Well,
move forwards on this
yeah.
now.
It's just that I think it's just because when you go to see the doctor,
Mm,
and you, whatever doctor, I mean, woman or man, both can have empathy. Both can be rubbish. I mean, because it comes from this part of listening.
mm,
But I've seen many female doctors acting like male,
mm,
because they had to go through by themselves to community of male, even for female medicine, for
mm,
gynecologists, things like this. I've seen many female doctor kind of take on male um, way to push, and talking to women so rubbishly. I
mm,
mean, there is no other word for that. But the thing is, when you talk to any kind of doctor, you have naturally this tendency of believing them or trusting them, because they are doctors. And if you don't kind of come back to this understanding of this is my health. I have an intuition. We all have intuition. And my body is telling me through pain, there is a problem. But my doctor said it's normal
Mm.
because or they don't live it or they don't know the feeling of it. They might know the mechanism of it, but they don't know the feeling of it. And they just put that, oh, but this is a normal thing for women.
But they're moving from and they're practicing from, and I mean it's the same as our schooling system, the
Mm,
health system. The core of it is archaic. You know,
yeah.
we know that it's archaic. Not
Mm,
necessarily the people working within it with the issue. They're just offering what they've been told and supported with. But what me and Vanessa are coming back to is that
mm,
you having a voice,
yeah.
you listening to your body, because no one knows your body greater than you. But
Yeah.
sometimes there's a misunderstanding with feeling. You know, a lot of women that I've supported, it's anxiety that they feel, or they're afraid.
Mm,
But when we drill down right into that emotion, what they actually see once they get past all of that old debris is it's actually excitement. That energy is excitement. So we want to clear up the misunderstandings of
mm,
of your emotional blueprint, so that you can then make greater choices towards your health. So it
yeah.
feels safer. So it feels more confident.
Yeah.
You know, you can go to the doctor, absolutely, but if you're not getting the answers that feel good to you,
Mm,
look what else is around you.
yeah.
There's so much out there. There's so many people out there supporting great female health.
Mm,
You don't just have to deal with one response.
yeah.
And this is the beauty of where we are right now. And I encourage you to tune into any response that you have should be encouraging you to celebrate you. They should be encouraging you to celebrate where you are. And what I mean by that is to take time, to give you time to understand how that
Mm,
feels, because that's so important, and that's what's going to be the game changer. You don't walk into you can't put more stuff into a full room, can you?
yeah.
Exactly the same with you as a human being. You can't pack any more in if you've got it bursting at the seams. So let's unpack a little bit first. Let's
Yeah.
give it a bit of space and then find out what you need. It really is that simple. That is that simple.
Yeah. And, yeah, I totally agree on that. It's making space. And making space is to really doing the cleanup of what's at the beginning you don't need, and then you don't need to do a full kind of cleanup first.
No, no,
And you
baby
can't
steps.
anyway. And that's
Baby
this funny
steps.
thing. Yeah, this funny thing because you can't. You do a bit of space, then you work on this space, and then you do another layer of space, and you go from that. And you don't need to have multiple kind of or expect multiple of breakthrough in a row. It's just time after time. And sometimes, like for example, for me at the moment, I'm in slow motion.
Mm,
I know if I have to take my time on stuff, I need to rest a lot, to digest a lot of cleaning I've been doing. And
mm,
if I was pushing through, um, I know what is going to happen: burnout. And
mm.
I had one burnout in my life. I never do want to do that again. It takes ages to come back to it,
Mm,
and to not even come back, but to relearn things,
mm,
and to restore the energy of the body, because that takes time.
mm.
So celebration, celebration during menopause. Yes, making space. And I really recommend anyone who feel that they can't do that by themselves, who wants more tips, to contact Abi and to contact the Project Woman, because you're going to find so many different tools and so many different practitioners to help you out. It is really important that to know you are not alone. Okay,
Mm,
on this, we are all connected to it, and more we work together, better we can create something completely new, for us, for respecting our health as a priority, and to understand this: the health is the foundations of what else we can create. And really, I feel really lucky to had Abi today and exploring her own breakthrough, and that's going to make a creation So much made so much difference for us. So I really recommend you to get on her website, Project Woman, and I will put every details into the description. And but if you want to keep in touch, just keep in touch with her also directly if you want to have a chat. It's really important to start this conversation with making space and celebrate yourself. Thank you so much, Abi, for today. That was really inspiring. And keep on spreading your message. You're so
Thank you,
precious.
darling.
Thank
Thank
you
you
so
so
much.
much. Thank you.
Bye.